My name is Tom Granger. I'm a 62-year-old retired Marine. After 32 years of service deployments, command posts, hell and high water, I came home with one dream in mind. Peace. That's all I wanted. No parades, no parties. Just silence. A quiet life. A place I could breathe. So I bought a ranch out in western Texas, tucked between two hills and far enough from town that you could scream at the top of your lungs and only the stars would hear you. The place was perfect. No traffic, no noise, no neighbors on my land. Just me, the open country, and my dog Cooper, a loyal old shepherd mix who never left my side. I didn't even own a car anymore. After my old Dodge finally died 6 years ago, I stuck with a four-wheeler and an old military Jeep that never left the dirt road. Town was 30 minutes away, but I rarely needed to go. My ranch was self-sustaining, vegetables in the ground, chickens in the back, solar on the roof. I spent my days mending fences, working the land, and sitting on my porch with black coffee and a view that didn't ask anything from me. So when I opened my mailbox one morning and found 87 parking tickets addressed to me, from a place I'd never heard of, for a car I didn't own, I thought it had to be a scam. The place was called Ridgepoint Glen HOA. The last page of the envelope wasn't a ticket. It was a legal notice of lien to be placed on property for non-payment. I blinked at the paper, reread it twice. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. They were coming for my land. I set the notice on the porch railing and stared out over the pasture. Cooper barked at the edge of the fence, tail wagging like he was waiting for me to throw a ball. But I just stood there stunned. The next day, it got worse. A man in a navy blazer and polished loafers drove up my dirt road in a shiny black BMW. He didn't knock, didn't wave, just stepped out, sunglasses on, and pinned a document to my wooden gate like it was a neighborhood yard sale flyer. I watched him from the porch, coffee in hand, still half asleep. Cooper growled softly but stayed put. He knew I had it handled. When the man drove off without a word, I walked down to the gate and ripped the paper off. It was official, an active lien had been filed. Not pending. Not a warning. Filed. Legal. I hadn't even heard of Ridgepoint Glen. I hadn't driven outside of my county in over a year. I didn't even own a vehicle that matched the one on the tickets. And yet someone was trying to take my home. It all started over a year earlier. I just settled into that rhythm I always dreamed of: sunrise coffee, feeding chickens, planting tomatoes and beans. I even sold some produce at the weekend farmers market in Clearwater, the nearest town. I didn't need the money. I had my military pension. It was about connection, about staying grounded in a community even if I didn't live in the thick of it. That's where I met a young man named Tyler Maddox. He was polite, clean-shaven, maybe in his early 30s. Said he was from a development called Ridgepoint Glen, about 40 minutes east. We talked about gardening, drought cycles, old engines. He mentioned working on an old Mustang but didn't have room to store it while his garage was being redone. I shrugged. I've got land. If it's just for a week or two, I don't mind. Tyler looked surprised but thanked me. The next day, he showed up, parked the battered silver Mustang beside my barn, and promised to come back for it soon. But he didn't. 2 weeks passed. Then 4. I tried calling the number he gave me. Disconnected. I moved the Mustang behind the barn and tossed a tarp over it. Out of sight, out of mind. And that was my mistake. Over the next few months, I started finding weird things in my mailbox. Envelopes with no return address. One had a blank sheet of paper. Another time, someone knocked on my door at 3 a.m. and ran off into the dark. I found fresh tire tracks near my back fence one morning. Cooper growled low but didn't give chase, was getting too old for that. I didn't put it all together until I held that lien notice in my hands. 87 parking tickets. From an HOA I'd never joined. For a car I didn't own. But I had let someone park it on my land. I drove into the county office in my Jeep the next day. The clerk gave me a confused look when I explained the problem. She typed something into her computer and frowned. According to our system, she said, your property was annexed into Ridgepoint Glen's HOA jurisdiction about 6 months ago. I blinked. What? You're listed as part of their Phase 2 expansion plan. I live 20 miles from that place. There's not even a road connecting my ranch to them. She shrugged. It must have been a paperwork error. No, it wasn't. I called every number I could find for the HOA. Voicemail. Every one. I left messages. No one returned them. Then, 2 days later, more tickets arrived. A final warning. I had 10 days before foreclosure proceedings would begin. I sat on my porch that night, the stars bright and still above me, Cooper lying next to my boots, his breathing slow and steady. I held the letter in one hand, cooling coffee in the other. I fought through Fallujah, I muttered. And now I'm fighting parking tickets from a ghost town. The next morning, I made the drive to Ridgepoint Glen. It looked like a magazine spread. Every lawn was manicured. Sprinklers misted the sidewalks. Kids biked in matching helmets. Every home had a 2-car garage and the same shade of beige. Perfect. Cookie-cutter suburbia. Too perfect. I pulled up to the HOA office. A woman at the front desk gave me a painted-on smile. "I'm Tom Granger," I said. "You folks sent me this." I held out the lien notice. She took the paper, scanned it, and paused. Her smile froze. "You'll need to speak with our HOA director," she said. "He's not in today." "Then I'll wait." She didn't like that. I took a seat in the lobby. Sat for an hour. Still no one came. I got up to stretch and noticed a cracked door labeled Records Room. I walked toward it. "Sir," a voice barked behind me. "You need to leave now." 2 security guards had appeared behind me, arms crossed. "You're trespassing," one said. Funny. They didn't mind mailing threats to a ranch they'd never seen. I raised my hands. "All right, I'm leaving." I drove off, but not before I saw it. 3 blocks down, parked in front of a home with a big "For Sale" sign out front, was the silver Mustang. Tyler's Mustang. Same dents. Same plates. I parked around the corner and walked back on foot. No one was home, but in the backyard, beside the garage, I spotted a shed filled with folders and boxes labeled HOA, codes, and ticket logs. Then a black SUV turned into the driveway. I ducked behind a hedge. Out stepped the same man who'd delivered the lien to my ranch. He used a key to enter the house. My heart pounded. Something was very wrong. When I got home, a red envelope was taped to my gate. Final notice. 5 days left. I called the only person I knew who could help me, old buddy Marcus Bell, retired MP. After the Corps, he went into private investigations. Smart, cautious, and relentless. I told him everything. When I mentioned Tyler, Marcus's expression darkened. "I've heard that name. Let's dig." Hours later, Marcus found it. Ridgepoint Glen HOA was also listed as a business. And the registered owner? Tyler Maddox. The kid who just needed a place to park his car. It was a setup. They parked the car, registered it at my address, claimed I was part of the community, fined the car under my name, created paper trails, built their justification. But it wasn't just about the car. Marcus found an expansion map. My ranch? The final parcel in Ridgepoint Glen Phase 2. 40 new homes planned. Millions in profit. But they needed my land. That's why they were doing this. That's why they forged the trail. Then Marcus found the deed. A scanned PDF filed with the county. A transfer of ownership. Dated 2 months ago. With my signature. I never signed anything. The notary listed? A woman named Beverly Roan. She died 6 months ago. My head spun. My hands shook. They forged my signature using a dead woman's seal. That night, someone broke into my ranch. They didn't take electronics or valuables. They took my safe. Inside was my original land deed, discharge papers, and my grandfather's will. They knew what to steal. Cooper was limping, his back paw cut open. Glass on the floor. Window shattered. They were escalating. The next morning, Marcus had the signature tested by a document expert. Confirmed forgery. The notary seal was fake. Cut from an online image. Lazy work, but enough to fool a sleepy clerk. We went straight to the sheriff. Sheriff Miles had a reputation, straight arrow, no nonsense. We laid everything out. The tickets. The car. The fake deed. The threats. The break-in. "This is felony-level fraud," he said. "But to take this to court, we'll need a confession or something stronger." So we baited the hook. I called Tyler using a burner phone. Told him I was ready to sign. He sounded smug. "Meet me at Ridgepoint Park. Noon tomorrow. Alone." Marcus hid a recorder in my shirt collar. I sat on the bench under an oak tree. Tyler showed up right on time, sunglasses, button-down shirt, all false confidence. "You brought the paperwork?" he asked. I handed him the fake deed. He laughed. "You wouldn't believe how many people give up when you push just hard enough." He admitted everything. Called it a pattern. Said fear made people easy. He was still talking when Marcus stepped out of the trees with the sheriff. Tyler was arrested on the spot. But it wasn't over. That night, my barn burned to the ground. Arson. Accelerant used. They weren't hiding anymore. But they left evidence. One camera survived the fire. Captured a figure in a hoodie, fleeing on an ATV. 2 nights later, we caught him. The front desk clerk from the HOA office. 19 years old. Terrified. "They said it was legal," he sobbed. "I didn't know." He told me to call him Mr. Black. Marcus dug deeper. Traced payments. Found a shell company funding Ridgepoint Glen. And 5 other developments. Across 3 states. Same pattern. Same fraud. Same forged documents. The name behind the shell company? Gregory Black. Former city councilman. Real estate magnate. Invisible on the paperwork, but the puppet master behind it all. We took it to the Attorney General. It blew wide open. Black was indicted on 42 counts of fraud, conspiracy, forgery, and more. Tyler testified. Brandon flipped. The clerk got immunity. And I stayed right here. The lien was lifted. My deed returned. My ranch secured. Volunteers helped rebuild the barn. A local kid even brought a chicken named Liberty. The new coop was stronger. The ranch better. And me? Still standing. Still watching the sunrise from my porch. Cooper at my side. No HOA. No paper tyrants. Just peace and a brass plaque I nailed to my gate that reads, "Property of a United States Marine. Trespass at your own risk."